All right, I just want to finish this sort of in the same spirit, and it's a good spirit. It's a spirit of freedom, of liberty, of self-reliance, of independence. Now, all those words, there's tons of people that can't stand. And even in my family, unfortunately. If you talk about liberty and freedom, self-reliance, if you talk about the fact that there are only two genders, man and woman, well, there's a minority in the world, and it is a minority, that are fascists because through force or violence, coercion, blackmail, or extortion, they'll try to make it so that you can't exercise the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. Now, you guys know that. Look at this. Unbelievable hammerstone. So I make these videos because they are my farewell. They're the last time I'll make a video on these particular artifacts, or as you just saw, these artifacts. I absolutely love those. They were found at the same site, those three right there. And site 4. Well, that's a site worth going back to, I tell you. Now, this hammerstone, fairly recently, was found at the easement. But look how thick that is. I mean, that's an inch thick and an inch in circle. But that was a tool that was loved. In fingers, no different than mine, no different than yours. But it didn't take a little time. It didn't take a year. It didn't take a week. This took, well, I bet you could have worn this down in a year. I remember a friend of mine named Rob, and you know him on here. You've seen his videos. I don't know if he's making videos now. But he's a modern, and I would call him a master napper. You guys know him. But he was talking that you might well be able to wear a stone like this down in a year with the kind of activity they needed to have, with the kind of production they needed to have. That is an incredible hammerstone. Way more beauty and energy than things they made like this that they could expect to lose. Expect to. They didn't covet them. They didn't try not to lose them. They wanted flesh and blood. They were meat eaters. Thank God they were meat eaters. I'm a meat eater. And then there's the banner stones. The mystery behind all the banner stones. In the right light, you'll catch all the drill channel. Look at that. The perfect corridor. Again, somebody who, I remember the first time I understood how they made drill channels that were like this. With a reed and sand. Or more than one reed, as it just wore away, but the sand would bore the hole, and a perfect hole in a spindle, as opposed to this. This are like drills we find. And this one, if I can find it, see here, if I can do this without messing people's eyes up. Okay. I don't know if I can see one with the sun in my Heartbreakers vase. Just for you guys who are new. Okay. This drill, this kind of drill, did not, of course, drill this hole in this banner stone. And look at those marks. That's where a piece of quartz, a bigger piece than all the rest of the sand, was just holding its bay for a little bit while the spindle worked and bored a little bit bigger channel than the rest of it. Happened again and again and again with quartz. Super tough. And this is like an Eastern jade again. This is another one of those pieces I find banner stones made out of it. This one has been beat all it's going to be. Just survived to to where I could at least save a little bit. Enough where I could speak to you about it. This kind of drill did drill this type of hole. And, of course, it was a double. So, I didn't film this at all. And on the other video, I mentioned why. You can see that hole and that hole. They were drilled from each side, and it was a more unpredictable type of drill, and a drill that was cylindrical. Very interesting. Or a drill that was tapered. So those of you who are fairly new get a little education, but most of you are veterans, especially if you manually come by Indian Trace to see if I posted anything. Some people, they'll make a comment that I stir up too much trouble or whatever. Listen, there's no such thing if it depends on the freedom that you enjoy every day and you take for granted. Whether it's going out and collecting artifacts, loving your children, going to their parks and rec games, baseball, soccer, whatever it is, any of that, well, it's somebody's desire to destroy your blessed or your middle-class life. Look at the edge there. And so much of what I share is directly against an agenda that's been tried to get rammed down your throat for the last 2-3 years. It's disgusting. The deception, control, and coercion of your life. It makes me upset because they hurt people I love, even people I don't even know like you. There's that other hole right there. Just a great piece. If you could feel this, it's just so smooth and worked. I think it's slate. Not sure. So, these 2 videos, sorry for all the ranting and raving, but some people, it's hard for me to imagine. They just don't know. But I do know. You know a man by his enemies, right? So whatever you feel, if you have a real love for YouTube, that's fine. Love it on. If you love the tech companies or Instagram, that's fine. Love on. But they're my enemy. And so is the mainstream. Shouldn't say mainstream, because they don't get any ratings. They don't even compare to ratings for many great independent journalists who are doing a fantastic job finding the truth out and reporting it. So when we do those sort of things or bring to light these sort of affairs, well, I'd say some people, some companies have tantrums, but some of you have kids too. We understand that. That would have been a great drill, right? But I could say no tantrums allowed. Not when your children's future depends on it. Hope you find out there.